Welcome to the VideoMyJob pod, where we feature industry experts, on-the-tool practitioners, and VideoMyJob customers to help you activate your employer brand strategy and EVP. Welcome back to the VMJPod. I'm Megs, and in this episode I'm speaking with Shani Jarvis, the General Manager of People and Culture at Anglicare WA. Now, we explore the innovative journey with the VideoMyJob pilot program, where Shani shares insights on the implementation of employee story videos in their strategy to enhance their EVP and talent attraction efforts. The discussion really emphasizes the importance of authentic narratives in showcasing workplace culture and attracting the right talent. So let's dive in. Well, hi Shani, thank you so much for joining me on the VMJ pod today. Now, you and your team recently went through the pilot program offering, and I'm really looking forward to unpacking that with you today. But can you start by telling us a little bit about your role and your team at Anglicare WA?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to chat, Megan. My name's Shani. I'm the General Manager of People and Culture here at Anglicare WA, and I am part of the broader People and Culture team. And VideoMyJob is an initiative that the people services function has sort of taken under its wing as part of our work on bringing our employee value proposition to life. So we're a relatively small team with 5 of us. Wow. We're supporting the organisation of about 750 staff who work across the whole of WA across a huge range of services. So VideoMyJob has been a really valuable addition to our toolkit.
Amazing. And so just a little bit of context there. So you had just come off the back of your creating your EVP, and so how long have you been using VideoMyJob and what made you decide to join the pilot program?
Yeah, sure. So we, as part of our current organisational strategic plan, had some investment put aside to revitalise our employee value proposition. We know we're fortunate as an organisation. We've got an exceptional culture and an exceptional offering that we know that we make available to staff who come and work for us. The gap that we have to fill is people have an expectation of who Anglicare WA are and what their experience might be, and we surpass those expectations after they join us. So that's a really great space to be in, but it's a gap that we need to fill, because our question then is, are there people who perhaps don't join us because they maybe have a misconception of who we are and how we work? And that's where we really needed to invest some energy into our employee value proposition to make sure that everything we know to be true about who we are and how we work and what we offer potential staff, we're showcasing that out in the marketplace. We employ a huge range of people in our agency, counsellors, accounts staff, HR professionals, marketing, advocacy, and all things in between. The proposition for each of those different careers is quite different, and we needed some way to sort of showcase the diversity of experiences that people can have should they choose to come and join us. We completed a piece of work with the support of an external consultant who helped us do a whole heap of research out in the market and with our people to really craft and refine what that EVP messaging needed to be. And then the opportunity is, okay, well, now how do we bring that to life? And we were fortunate to attend a masterclass that our consultants were running here in Perth, and you came along.
Yeah.
And sort of highlighted for us, I'd never heard of VideoMyJob prior to that workshop, but was really excited as soon as I saw both what the output was, which is this incredibly engaging library of really authentic stories, captured directly from your people, and then having had the experience of using the platform as some given the opportunity to produce a video, could see just how easy it was, and so immediately was creativity was sparking all over the place, just thinking about ways that we could really quickly and easily produce really engaging content and not having to draw on our brand and marketing team, who are, again, a very small function already fully utilised with an outward focus. And if I was waiting for them to produce these videos in, I guess, a more conventional way, it's not about it would take longer. It would actually just never happen, because in the list of priorities for the agency, the advocacy and the external priorities from a client focus are always going to trump any requests that might come for us as recruitment. So through the workshop, was introduced to the concept of the pilot program, and how for a relatively small investment of both time and money, potentially you could produce this extremely compelling library of video stories on the other side. And we thought, well, we'd be crazy not to take advantage of that.
Yeah, fantastic story, Shani, and you really do touch on a few different points there that in my travels talking to both customers and potential customers have, where you do have an internal function, but they might be at capacity, or unfortunately any work that you're sort of asking for might not be the priority because you're not sort of the a income driven sort of function. And then in addition to that, such a great problem to have where you're exceeding people's expectations when, candidates become employees. But you're right, like there might be that market where you're actually missing out on because people didn't realize that there are all these great opportunities and diverse opportunities within your organization, because you're not able to, sort of showcase that. So before implementing VideoMyJob, Shani, how did Anglicare approach the creation of employee story content? What was your status quo to try to showcase your company culture or your values or your EVP as such?
To be honest, there was a lot of really good intent there, but not a whole lot of actual action. I think if you were to, from an outward-facing perspective, really the only place potential candidates had to look for information was our website. And we all sort of agree that it just doesn't represent, our voice is missing somehow. We've got a great reputation. So, seek reviews and just word of mouth. The community sector in WA particularly is very small. Everyone talks to everyone. Everyone knows everyone. So people know of us and know of the good work that we do, either because the organisation they work for has had a touch point with us as a partner, or they maybe have supported a client who's gotten great services from us. So we were relying on a whole lot of hopes and wishes, I suppose, rather than like real strategic focused effort on making sure that we really proactively communicated our EVP to the market. Job ads is obviously another space where you can try to capture the sort of specialness that it is to work in a team. But we would often say, around the table, oh gosh, it'd just be so great if we could have a really quick video from the hiring manager, or gosh, it'd be so great if we could get the team, out the back of their location when we know it's, beautiful scenery and things like that. Because somehow just get them under the trees, like having a quick yarn about what the job is and what it's like to work, in Albany, for example. But it would never go any further than that, because the mechanics of, okay, so how do we make that happen? Okay, who's got the equipment? Okay, can people get down there? Are people going to want to take part? And lots of barriers would quickly come up, and it would be like, yeah, well, it's a good idea, but we're just never going to be able to make it happen. So I guess, being honest, prior to embarking on this work in terms of really bringing those stories to life, a lot of good intent, but not a whole lot of action.
Fair enough. And I mean, look, I understand when you don't have the right tools or platforms for that, it can become quite an arduous process. So I completely understand. Now, Shani, when you did join the pilot program, you did touch on a few things, as you were mentioning before, job ads and just being able to showcase your EVP and just your values and your diverse culture. In addition to that, or if you would like to expand on that, should I say, what were 2 or 3 goals you aim to achieve or improve?
Sure. Well, I think what we wanted to have from the pilot program was knowing that whilst we had a broader intent to sort of revitalise our website, for example, we are one stakeholder of many when it comes to getting that work done. And I wanted something that we could control basically end to end. And I could demonstrate, to our executive team that for a small investment of time and money, I could produce something really tangible that we could put on our website immediately, and we would be able to see straight away that it's having an impact on engagement when it comes to click-throughs from potential new hires. So I think for me, that was the takeaway that I wanted, I guess, as an immediate goal. I also just wanted to demonstrate that if you give people a way to tell their story really simply, people want to tell their story. So I think when you talk about, if we could capture video so much easily, it'd be a game changer. Oh yeah, but who's going to want to do that? And it's like, actually, a lot of people. And I think that was our learning from the pilot, is it didn't take a whole lot of effort from my team to find people who were actually not only willing, but really excited about wanting to tell their story of what it is like to work here and why they do the job they do and why they love the work that they do so much. They want to tell that story because they're really proud of the impact that they have here and the impact that they have in their local community. And so giving people a platform to share that in the hope that it's going to attract more people to join us, people really wanted to be part of that.
That's so great to hear. And I love that, because you're right. It's not everybody is going to want to be in front of the camera, but there are a lot of people that want to tell their story. And so I'm so glad to hear that that's been your experience within your organization as well, Shani. And as a result, you managed to get all of these great employee stories. Just again, for our listeners out there. So for the process, or the process that you sort of undertook, right, with the pilot program. So you wanted to get, so you've got a whole diverse range of employee stories, and you wanted to revamp your website, your career site in particular around that. Can you talk us through the process or what that kind of looked like for you in particular?
Yeah, sure. I guess firstly, we had some amazing support from Alex, who's part of the team at VideoMyJob. So it was really great working with her and Gavin and David and the team. So I guess that is, there's no shortage of people willing to help with ideas and tips and tricks and suggestions. So in terms of the project itself, so VMJ have got a really great pilot program that they've sort of designed to support the outcome being development of a large library of content in as little amount of time as possible. So what we really leveraged off internally was the relationships that particularly my people and culture service partners have got with services. So the way that we support the organisation is we're not a transactional team. We really do work in partnership with our service teams. And so when a P&C partner taps you on the shoulder and goes, actually, you know what, guys, I need a favour. Like, I would really love it. People want to help. So we did investing that time in sharing with people what's the why? Why are we doing this? Where is it going to be shown? What's the impact we're hoping to achieve? Spending a little bit of energy in those initial comms was really important, because I know that for some people participating in projects like this, it's a big part is building their own personal brand, because you can share that content on LinkedIn and others. For our organisation, though, that's not the main driver. The main driver is, I love what I do. We need more people to do it. And if I can be part of the story of encouraging others to come join us, like, that's what motivates people. So we're spending that time just explaining the why to the organisation was really important. And then it was about tapping people on the shoulder. So we kind of did it. We cast the net wide, and we basically gave everyone the opportunity to take part. And I think we're an agency of about 750. And I think at that first cut of, look, if you want to hear more, let us know, we would have had, I'd say, 100 people sort of put their hand up, which is, I was really impressed with the take up. From that initial 100, they then needed to commit to that initial, 1 hour session that was run, facilitated by the VideoMyJob team. That was a natural point where some more people fell out of it because they just couldn't make themselves available at that time, or whatever the case may be. So from that initial 100, I think we probably then cut down to about 60 to 70 people who then attended a 1 hour session. We wanted to make sure that the ask of them time-wise was as minimal as possible. So the way that the pilot is structured is we came up with some questions that we thought would produce some really engaging content. The teams came to the session of their choice, were presented with those questions, and were asked to provide us with some quick, 1 or 2 sentence responses to each of those questions. We then took that away, read them over, and for each person we thought, well, it'd be great to sort of get videos on, this one, and this one. And then we just worked one-on-one with people to sort of say, like, we'd love you to now give us a video exploring these questions in a little bit more detail. Provided them access to the platform, which again, genuinely is 2 clicks and you're in. Like, you hear people say that, and then the reality is, oh, it wasn't quite 2 clicks. It was a little bit harder than that. This genuinely is click in, give us your details, click again, open your camera up, Bob's your uncle. Like, it really is as easy as you can possibly make it. We really found working with people around the scripts was again, helped to really put people at ease. Some of our people very comfortable, just speaking to camera and away they go, don't need a whole lot of takes, very, very, very savvy. Others, as soon as they kind of see themselves on camera, you can kind of freeze a wee bit. And again, knowing that VideoMyJob has got that teleprompter functionality within it helped, again, some people to feel really comfortable that they weren't going to fumble their words and say the wrong things. So I would say, there was the 1 hour investment of time in the workshop, and then probably for myself and another team member, over the course of a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days of energy from both of us. And the end result of that was a library of, I'd have to check now, but about 75 unique pieces of content, branded, colours match out, it aligns perfectly with all of our brand guidelines. It's subtitled, so, from an inclusion perspective, it's really easily accessed. I would say over the course of a week's worth of total energy from everyone who took part to have then resulted in a library of, 70 to 80 unique pieces of content that are ours to keep, regardless of whether we continue to host them on VideoMyJob or elsewhere, is amazing. Like I say, it's not even about saying, oh gosh, if we had have done that the conventional way, it would have cost us X. We never would have done it. We just simply never could have gotten that project completed were it not for the tool that VideoMyJob provides in terms of ease of use. We've collected stories from across the state. We have, WA is huge. We have teams in Albany, we have teams in Kununurra, we have teams, in the middle of the state in Aboriginal communities, and we could offer the same opportunity to all those staff to take part. It wasn't just limited to where the brand and comms team could visit with a camera. And that's never been done here before. So I'm really proud that we've gotten participation across such a broad cross-section of our agency, because I think then when people who don't know us are looking at our feed, they can see, oh, yeah, like these guys say they do a lot, and it's true. I can see that represented in the people that appear in our story feed. So I'm really proud of what we've been able to produce.
Amazing. I love that story so much because my next question was, in what ways with being able to create content with our platform, how has that empowered your team? But I feel like you've already touched on that, just being able to tell their story, and then in addition to that, just have this really easy platform for them to be able to do something. But then also from your team as well, Shani, it sounds like it was just a really easy process. You touched on it just being auto-branded. So things were coming in. It was all sort of branded based on your brand guidelines, your colors, etc. And then you were able to have this whole library of content there ready for you guys to then send out and share.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And I think that one of the more recent releases of VideoMyJob now has got, you've got the ability to embed your story feed on your careers page as like a little pop-up that comes out of the bottom corner, but you've also got the ability to showcase your story feed on a separate web page. And so that's now given us functionality to embed that within our CCADs. So we're at the bottom of our CCADs, historically, we would have maybe some quotes from our employee engagement survey as a way to try to capture the employee voice. What I've got now is a link just saying, if you want to know more about who we are and how we live our values every day, just spend 5 minutes looking through our story feed. And since we've embedded that link into our CCADs, we can again see a real uptick in engagement on the videos, which is great, because I couldn't say definitively that it's meant we have more applicants, but for all I know, that one person who is the unicorn that we've been looking for, in our Bunbury team, maybe they clicked on apply because of a story that they saw
Yeah.
in the ad.
And I guess with videos as well, it just gives you a better idea of exactly what the role is about. It's people when they are applying, they know exactly what they're getting into. They know exactly who's going to be in their team. They know exactly what kind of projects the team are doing. And so they're just a little bit more informed. Would you say? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah,
Shani? Yeah.
definitely. And I think it's about just making it a more authentic voice.
Yeah.
I think that it's really easy for agencies to have values that appear really compelling, but particularly in this current market, people are appropriately cynical. You can make broad claims, and then what proves to be true in reality can be quite different. So I think hearing from someone in our philanthropy team, a disability worker who works with clients in the Southwest, and someone from our data analytics team, all speaking to how they live and breathe the values in their work every day. You couldn't, there's no kind of words I could use that would have the same degree of impact as hearing from the people themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Now, it sounds like, adoption it sounds like across your team, people have gotten, really embraced it and sounds like they're quite excited to tell their story. But did you have any adoption challenges that you encountered through this process? And if so, how did you overcome any of that, Shani?
Yeah, and I think the pilot project was a huge success, and everyone, there's no disputing, the breadth of engagement and the quality and the quantity of content we could produce. We have had some challenges since that point. My hope was that other teams who might be able to consider video as an option for collecting client stories or, getting some insights on some of our diversity and inclusion initiatives, for example. We are struggling a little bit with getting some traction. I think when people think of video, they can often still think of the more traditional, it's two people in front of a camera, it's back and forth, it's 3 to 5 minutes. And that isn't what VideoMyJob is intended to be.
Yeah.
We are working on it though. I think that's, I want to share, I share with people that if you were to honestly look at the click-through rates on some of those longer pieces of content, I can almost guarantee you that no one's watching it to the end. They'll watch the first minute and go, yeah, I've got a sense of it, click, and going on to the next thing. So I think it's just about more trying to open people's minds to the potential of how could you use those like 30 to 45 second snippets to really spike engagement on key initiatives. So, for example, we've got Harmony Day coming up where we will have a lot of activity across the organisation. VideoMyJob has got the functionality now of an open campaign. So rather than needing to invite people to take part, you can produce a QR code or send a link, and anyone who has access can click and go. So I'm now going to encourage that, well, with every poster and invitation to a Harmony Day related event, we're going to include a QR code and encourage people to share what was one piece of learning that you got from taking part in that event. And if, those sort of passive channels, if that creates 10 more videos for the collection, well, that's 10 videos we didn't have for not a whole lot of effort. Yeah. So it's finding those kinds of opportunities to have sort of passive streams open to people that they can engage with as and when. I think that's probably the next horizon for us. We use a tool to support the onboarding of our staff, and it sends out notifications at various points in the journey, asking for feedback and checking in and that sort of thing. We've created another opportunity with we know new staff particularly have, generally speaking, great experiences in their onboarding, and again, that's the point where they're super keen to share. So we've created some opportunities, at first, second, and third month checkpoints for new staff to click on a link and, well, don't just rate us 1 to 5, like, tell us in 30 seconds what's a highlight for you been. And so we've launched that, so we'll see if that generates some opportunities for content. And I think I've looked on the VideoMyJob blog has got lots of great ideas that come through about here are some campaign tips. So it's just kind of planting those seeds around the organization, and I think in time it is going to start to get a bit of a life of its own. And getting brand and comms on board is going to be critical. I think those guys can see the potential, but Video My Job is very clear about what it is. It looks fantastic, but it is recorded on a mobile device. It is not the same quality as a professionally shot and a professionally edited video, and it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
So I think it's about just trying to find those opportunities where the hi-fi solution isn't required, and the lower-fi solution is better because it's cheaper and it's quicker, and then seizing those opportunities to use VideoMyJob for that stuff. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's something I'm really passionate about, and the fact we can point to the story feed as an outcome, and I'm not just talking about an idea now. I can say, look, have a look at it. This is what it is. That makes the marketing piece a whole lot easier.
And that is so, and you've gone about it in such a great way, I think personally, Shani, because you're right. Like you've created this piece of work or project as such, which was the story feed with all of your employees' stories, and you've popped that on your website, right? And you've got that stream of content. You've got, that will kind of, I know you're still in your early stages, but you'll be able to then see all of the results fully coming back that you can take back to the business. But in the meantime, you're right. It does take time to sort of chip away at the different departments. But I think you guys are doing it in such a great way, because you're right. Like just having that passive stream of content coming through by getting creative and just doing little flyers or popping that in presentations so that, whoever does want to submit a video, they can do that. And then when they do, you can then take those results back to them and say, look, this is what this has done and this is how you can use it, etc. So, I applaud you. I think such a great way to, to kind of get it into different streams there. And then again, in your onboarding process as well, I think such a great idea, because I just feel like video is just the way that we communicate these days. It's just how we consume content now. Nobody reads. Nobody's got the attention span to be reading anymore. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think it's such a great thing that you're doing across your business. Now, Shani, I do know it is early stages, as we said before, because I think it's only been a few months now that you guys have just, you've gone through the pilot program, and I think you've only just sort of finished up. But what are some of the key metrics or outcomes that you've seen that's improved since you started using VideoMyJob?
I think, like I said, whether I couldn't honestly say that I could point to VideoMyJob as being like the reason why, this hard to fill job, we've now found someone. But certainly we can see VideoMyJob has got some really powerful analytics sort of built into the back end. And as administrators, you've got access and you can see how videos are being engaged with, what the click-through rate is. We can see that our videos are generating those click-throughs. So people are watching them, and then they are then going and having a look at the job posting, which is quite exciting, because it's historically the way that we advertise our roles is through Seek or word of mouth. Tapping into that passive stream of people for whom they might just be having a bit of a click around, I'll have a look at Anglicare's website, and they wouldn't necessarily go to the job page unless they were actively looking. But if they watch a really compelling video and they go, actually, this sounds like a really cool place to work, like I might just see what they're advertising for. You just don't know whether out of that we've maybe attracted someone to apply who wouldn't have done it before. But I think for me, the metric so I can see the content's being engaged with, so it's not sitting on the website and doing nothing. So that's amazing. But I think for me, just knowing that we're starting to bridge that gap and we are representing out to the public who we are, who we know we are, and that was a real gap that had always caused us a lot of sort of frustration, but we didn't really have a mechanism to do anything about that. It's something that we've been able to address really easily ourselves. So I would say, early days to sort of attribute anything to VMJ, but it's absolute. There's no question that it's a value add. It's not something that we've just produced and is sitting there idle. It's helping to build engagement. It's helping to tell our story. And that's ultimately what we wanted it to do.
Amazing. And lastly, Shani, looking back on your overall experience with VideoMyJob's pilot program, how has it met your expectations, and would you recommend it to other organizations looking to enhance the employer brand and talent acquisition efforts?
Yeah, no question. I said the level of support that we've got from the VideoMyJob team has been great. Certainly I do feel I think we're one of the first sort of not-for-profits to engage with VideoMyJob as a tool. And there's definitely some elements of, I guess, the value proposition for participants that make a lot more sense in a private organisation, that for us it's not quite the same. So there's obviously just some opportunities there to sort of temper some of the language and talk about the way in which we promote it internally. But the VMJ team have been brilliant to work with, so open to feedback and us really working in partnership. I'm really excited to be sort of a part of the beta testing with, there's always new features and new functionality that's coming out to really enhance the offering. And I guess, for an organisation for whom, you might struggle to justify the spend because it's just videos. But the spend it's right at that sweet spot where as long as you've got people engaged in your organisation who are really passionate about the project and really want to make it work, because it's not just about set and forget. Like you need to be driving engagement along, but the amount of energy required from me was really reasonable. Our staff really enjoyed the experience of participating. It didn't feel too orchestrated. They really could speak quite naturally and authentically about what their experience of, what are their alignment with the values or what their job's like, whatever. I wasn't putting words into their mouths too much. It didn't feel overly polished, which for us, that sat really comfortably with people. And it's meant that, like I say, for a very reasonable investment of both time and money, we've gotten this amazing library of content that's ours to keep forever, regardless of whether we continue to host it in the VideoMyJob platform or not. But I really want to, our intention is absolutely to keep that relationship going, because we just could never have done this without the benefit of a tool like VMJ, which, like I say, you need very minimal training. A lot of systems talk about, we're so user-friendly, but actually the reality of that is, no, I still feel like I need a manual here to understand what's going on. You really can click through this system with very minimal guidance, and at the end of the day, produce a video that's branded and looks really professional, and for me looks really authentic. And I think that was the key thing for me, is I didn't want a library of videos with people sitting against a white wall reading from a script. I just want people speaking from the heart, whatever that looks like, and that's what our people did. And there were, I think, every video produced we've used, there were none that we said, no, that just doesn't work. Every video was on message, because people are really passionate about working here, and VMJ has given them a platform to sort of share that passion with the community, which is amazing.
Shani, I love this all so much, and thank you so much for sharing your story today. I loved hearing about it. I loved hearing about your journey with VideoMyJob and the pilot program, and I'm so excited that your business is, or your team, and is really taking this on board, and that everyone within your business is really gotten excited about sharing their story. So thank you again for taking the time to be on our podcast. And we'll definitely have to have you back sometime later on, and we can share more about your results and more of the fun, exciting, cool things that you guys are doing over there.
Amazing. Thank you for the time, Megan. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more about activating your employer brand strategy and EVP, then check out podcast.videomyjob.com for a library of industry perspectives and how-tos. Now, if you're ready to level up your activation strategy, then you need an employee story video platform, and that's what we do. Go to videomyjob.com/demo to book a walkthrough with one of our video specialists, or click on the pricing page to learn about our new 90-day pilot program. Lastly, we would love for you to help us spread the word about the VMJPod to attract new experts and practitioners to share their activation strategies. So please take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and post it on LinkedIn. Don't forget to tag us, as we're so grateful when you do that.